What's up, guys? Welcome to DeepThoughts FM. Today's the pilot episode, so we're just going to kind of go over who we are, how we all met, and why we chose to start the podcast. Trap, I'll leave it to you for the disclaimer.
Alright, so pretty much anyone we may happen to mention in these podcasts, we don't want you to harass or harm in any way. Um, if you just so happen to know us, know our housing locations or our schooling locations, please do not dox us online. We are private people, and I don't like having to move houses.
Yeah,
One last thing, we're 15. Any theories that we bring up are whatever
purely
logic
that.
a 15-year-old can, gain. So if we just so happen to be wrong, please don't harass us. You can simply correct us. Oh, instead of using this method of math, you could use this one. Whatever brings up.
Yeah. And then we'll make fun of you in the next episode for being a nerd.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably not, but
I'll
good
thank
chance.
you, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Alrighty. Now if that's done and over with, let's get into the juicy stuff. So, how we all met. I guess we'll start with me and Trap because we've known each other for the longest. We had a mutual friend throughout elementary school, and then we had never really talked, but we both knew the same guy. So when we met each other again in high school, we were like, "Hey, I know you," and pretty much just hit it off. We were like, friend. It was a friendly face that we needed for like reassurance, and we now we're recording a podcast together.
Yeah, it was pretty great seeing this guy after however many years. After pretty much like fourth grade. When did you
Yeah.
move?
Um, I switched schools after fifth grade, so it
Okay.
was like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Because I think Caleb moved fifth grade, so it was like 4 years.
Uh, but yeah,
Yeah. And then me and Damon, we met fourth period in our history class and doing absolutely nothing pretty much. We got put together for a couple group projects and worked together pretty well. And then once COD Mobile came out, that's really when we started talking, hanging out, and playing a lot more. And then it's kind of same thing. It's just went from there.
now we
Damon,
gotta
why you
go.
say something?
Yeah, Damon, go.
Um, so Trap and I went to the same middle school, but we didn't talk like at all. And then when we got to high school, uh, when I was hanging out with Adam, Trap would be there sometimes. Then eventually we started talking. Then we became friends. It's basically what happened.
Pretty much.
Yeah, basic stuff. Kind of met through the mutual friendship, kind of the same as me and Trap did. Then next thing you know, here we are. So yeah, kind of segueing into the next topic as to why we decided to make a podcast. And it was really mainly because of a conversation we had a few days ago, and we were like, this would be really funny to record and post to hear people's reactions to it. And it was just we're probably gonna like recap that conversation, and it's I hope it's interesting to other people. It's gonna get kind of nerdy this episode, but hopefully we can kind of lay back on that as time goes on. But yeah, I'll leave it to Trap to start us off.
So, virtually, how did we start out? It was
What if you could have any superpower? What would it be?
okay. So we pretty much had to ask a question of like, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And you all give your answers.
Well, the original question was instead of like time stop, like just freezing time, what would it be? So I said telekinesis because reading minds would be super cool, and I'm lazy, so being able to move stuff with my mind and not having to get up would be pretty sweet. Damon, what'd you say again? I forget.
Didn't wait. What did I say?
You said that wasn't time stop, so you had to say,
Oh, yeah, you said creating pure matter.
Oh yeah,
yep,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
creating. Yeah.
fabricating. So it's like think of a PS5, boom, PS5 in your hands. Like,
Yeah, yeah. That's what it was.
yeah,
And pretty much my answer was the ability to mimic any other superpower that was around me. So in the case that, there were multiple superhumans, just, like Adam and Damon, I would be able to utilize their powers.
It's a pretty cheap way to do it, but also kind of smart.
It's pretty big brain.
Yeah, because you can get multiple powers for one. Alrighty, and then from there, when we move to time stop into why it would be like too. I don't want to say overpowered, but it'd be like it's like a
It
gaming
would be
term.
overpowered.
Then we went on to like why time stop would be too much, and then slowly moved on to the topic of time manipulation, to where it'd be like stop time or basically like stop, like freeze everyone at one time.
Well, you
Or
have the ability to control time itself.
yeah, you can go back, go forward, stop time, pull certain people out so they're like doing the kind of same thing as usual, where it's like everyone else is frozen, but you two can still function, or as many people as you choose to pull out.
And
Sorry.
from there, we were pretty much just going through like the ideas behind time manipulation, what we would do if we were capable of manipulating time.
No.
And pretty much we ended up going into, was it
Before
super
before
speed or was it
yeah,
space?
it
It
was
was
super
super.
speed. But before we get there, let's kind of talk about like some of the stuff that we said we would do with time manipulation. We're talking about like how like bank cameras and all that stuff. It's like you could walk into a bank vault pretty easily with it. But we were also thinking it's like, would the camera be able to pick us up? Would the cameras continue rolling? Or would they like pick you up for a specific frame, like the frame that you walk by on that it stops on? Would you only be there for that time?
So pretty much my theory behind that was like, well, if you were to freeze time entirely, then the camera wouldn't be able to pick you up. You wouldn't be in any frames because it would always stay, if it were recording for a minute and a half, it would always stay at a minute and a half. But if you were to slow down time, you would get caught in some point in time by the camera. That's why you shouldn't rob a bank.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, but money is money.
That's true. I mean, hey, if you got time manipulation, I'm pretty sure that laws go out the window at that point. But
Yeah, laws don't apply to you.
Okay, another
traffic laws.
disclaimer that I feel like I have to put out there now. We are not planning on robbing any banks.
Well, we don't have time manipulation, so it's not like we could
Maybe
have.
not
We are
you.
simply theorizing on
Yeah, maybe not you, Trav.
what may happen.
Uh,
I could use a little money right now. I don't know about you, but I could.
Look,
bro, I'm
man,
broke.
I don't want to have a knock on the door in the next hour or two, okay?
FBI, open up. Yeah.
It was a
Also,
joke. It was a joke.
disclaimer: if you see any like jump cuts in this in the recording, it's because Damon's mic gets fried at times, so
Yeah.
we just gotta cut through it. Or
Alright, so we had this big argument about the idea of super speed. So originally, I was thinking, like, yeah, you could just go faster than light if you had the ability of running faster than light. And the idea behind it was the ability to stop. You would have to, you couldn't stop at a fast pace without de-atomizing yourself or,
yeah,
ruining your bone structure entirely. And going through that, if we pretty much determined that you couldn't stop rapidly, you would have to slow to a stop or at least not hit something.
Not hit something.
Pretty much
yeah,
just not hit something. But off of that came the idea of going faster than light,
yeah.
which,
And here's where I'll take over for this.
alright,
The thing with Damon, I think you remember the number. How fast is the speed of light?
Um, 671 million miles an hour.
Yeah, 671 million miles an hour. That is incredibly fast. So it takes about, I think it's 8 minutes for light from the sun to hit Earth, which, for being millions of miles away, that is insane. So, with that logic, you have to think, how much force does a car going 50 miles an hour have behind it? Hence why it needs, I think a car going 50 miles an hour needs 400 feet to stop fully. That's a lot. So that's where we would think it's like, okay, so if it's 400 feet, that would be 8 times the speed. So 8 times the speed of light is, I don't know, I don't want to calculate it. I'm lazy. Yeah. We did calculate the force, however, traveling behind you. and that is 92 trillion foot-pounds of force behind you. So
Going
if
at
you
the speed
could
of
stop
light.
on yeah, so if you could stop on a dime like the Flash, if you've seen the new Justice League movie, he stops instantly, um, with only like a little bit of a skid. And with
Well,
that,
he's not going the speed of light. He's going like significantly less.
yeah,
Isn't
but like
the
just use that as an
hasn't
example.
Flash broken the sound barrier?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
So
mean,
he's
Jets
going
break the
faster
sound
than speed of
barrier all the
sound.
time.
yeah, he breaks the sound. He runs as fast as speed of sound, which even then, you would have I think it's significantly less, but I think it's still I think it's like 764 billion pounds of energy behind you. Like it's a lot.
It's a lot of
Significantly
force.
less, but it's a lot. And the main like the biggest thing with that immediately it comes down to basically how far you would have to run. And if you could stop immediately like the Flash, that 92 trillion pounds, like here's you stop, that 92 trillion pounds is going to continue until it hits you. And if it hits you, that's way too much force. You're going to get atomized by it. And then we kind of segued into what's called like if you ran through space, like if you could, obviously it's impossible because there's nothing to run on, but if you could run that fast, would you ever be slowed down? And then it kind of came to like the gravitational pull of stars and planets and everything. You will be slowed down, but in a perfect scenario, you'd be going straight. But obviously, there is no perfect scenario in space.
Even in a typical scenario, because like how big is space? Like what? Damon, you googled this. You
Yeah, you have the.
It's like, um,
I'll re-Google it here.
yeah.
I think it said it was like, I forgot how many light years it said.
It is 46.5 billion light years away. That's a lot.
To avoid the
Let's
edge
just
of the.
let's round that to probably sextillion miles.
Well, yeah. It, well, that's just what we can see with the biggest telescope in the world. That's just what we can see. But yeah. So we'll just round it up. Like, let's say, like, to make conversions easier, 50 billion miles. If you guys are like doing math at home because you're nerds, just like us. So let's say like 50 billion light years. With that, you would reach the end of the universe at super speed with with no gravitational pulls on you, because I think it's Newton's second or first, well, I forget which one. But an object in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by an external force. There will be hundreds of billions of external forces, but you'll be able to reach the end of the universe with none in between 8 to 12 hours at light speed.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
also light speed. We did skip over a part. Running at the speed of light, if you go 1 mile an hour over it, you will be running in darkness.
yes, because the reflection of light, your eyes see the reflection of light. Therefore, if you're running faster than light, your eyes wouldn't be able to see any of the things that are around you. Therefore, you would have ran into a wall before being capable of anything.
Yeah,
Also, running faster than sound, you would be deaf unless you're running towards said sound.
Well, being deaf isn't as bad as being
Yeah,
yeah. Being deaf,
blind.
you can run deaf. Like running
Yeah.
blind, that's a feat.
yeah.
Like
I mean,
that's
like
one.
when jet pilots when they pass the sound barrier, which a lot of them do, they obviously can fly without sound.
Well, actually, they can still hear. Ooh, I wonder, can they still hear their engines?
No, I don't
You
think
probably
so.
couldn't hear the engine, but you
No,
probably
actually, they might because the engine is traveling the same speed as the jet
As
itself.
mm,
yeah. Hmm. We'll have to. We might have to do some research there and come back to this. That's pretty cool. But yeah, now you know why this is called deep thoughts. Think it's closer to shower thoughts sometimes, but
yeah, it'll
um,
inevitably become shower thoughts at some point.
yeah.
But you know,
So we calculated that it took about 8 to 12 hours to run to the end of the known universe.
Which seems absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's insane speeds.
Yeah.
Light will like no light from the sun can reach the end of the universe because light will have faded out by then. But thinking that I mean the speed of light, we've been able to calculate how fast that is. That's saying something. And with that logic it shows I mean one how big space truly is, but how small it is in comparison to what we thought. Because space is limitless that we know of because we haven't actually found an end of the universe. We just know how far we can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? There could be an end of the universe.
You just
I'm I
fall off the
personally
universe.
I personally believe in the theory that there's the like our solar system. It's probably not dead in the center. It's somewhere around it. Actually, it's definitely not dead in the center. That'd be impossible. It'd be like somewhere in here, and then space surrounding it, and then the area surrounding the outside of space is black holes, massive black holes that will suck anything in if it leaves. What's beyond those black holes, I don't think we'll ever be able to know.
So it's kind of like the flat Earth theory with like the ice walls surrounding the Earth, except it's a ton of black holes that surround the universe.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind of like the flat Earth theory.
Okay.
Well, black holes, if two black holes are really close to each other, one of them's going to get sucked into the other and gonna,
The smaller one, maybe.
yeah, the smaller one will be, or the one with less gravitational pull will be sucked into the other one. I'm pretty sure they explode if that happens.
Yeah, what
Mm,
would that do? That's like two
I don't know if it
suction
would
powers.
explode.
Because technically, a black hole is just a hole of enormous amounts of pressure and with the absence of light.
At the size of the head of a pin. That's
Yeah,
what I
Yeah,
crazy.
it's pretty much just large gravitational pull, but it's like putting two vacuums together. Like you would just dunk, then what would happen? They would just
That's a good
continue to
point.
like it would create
Here,
this.
I guess that's a good way to show this.
but black holes, light can't enter a black hole. So if light goes into a black hole, it never comes out.
Yeah, I guess a good
Unless
way
it
to
comes
show
out on the
this.
other side. There has to
There
be.
is no other side. It just crushes everything.
How do we know though?
Yeah, we would never be able to know because we don't even know
Yeah,
where the end of the universe is.
you get stretched out like a spaghetti noodle before you're able to actually enter the black hole.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because the
It's like,
black hole has so much pressure that it just breaks every, or squishes, or condenses everything to the size of an atom. So even if there was another side, it wouldn't really matter because anything that goes in is not coming out.
yeah.
well,
Here,
yeah,
if
but
I
like,
grab that.
what's the idea behind like wormholes being a portal pretty much through space? Oh, if you go through one side of a wormhole, you'll end up at the other. Why is a black hole gonna crush people if nobody's been through either one of them?
Here's
Like,
the thing with black holes that I don't understand. A lot of people would compare a black hole to a magnet, and I have these two magnet balls. So obviously, when the two sides of the same polarity touch, they stick together. But the second that you try and put them with opposite polarity, they push against each other, making this happen. This is the closest thing we can see to a gravitational pull on Earth.
Adam, you said it the wrong way.
yeah, if they're negatives, if they're
Opposites,
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 yeah,
There.
opposites
yeah,
attract.
opposites
Positive and
attract.
negative attract. Positive, positive don't attract. Negative, negative don't attract.
Yeah,
That is correct. Yeah. So the same polarity. They,
they're different.
if you try and push two magnets together, at least ball magnets are the closest thing for planetary gravitational pulls. As you circle around it, it gets pulled in closer and closer to the sides, creating that oval shape that the planets follow. Because the sun would be here, and they don't go around in a perfect circle. They go around more in an oval as the gravitational pull gets less and less, and then come in closer. The reasoning behind that is because as the gravity gets pulled further and further away and stretched out, the planets try and break out of the pole. Because it sounds like I'm personifying something, but the planets don't want to be pulled inside of this loop. They want to be separate from each other.
Well, yeah, but if that happens, then planets will start colliding into each other.
Yeah, they
And
have to
they
say
explode
in
Hence
some
everything.
created
sort
the
of
asteroid.
uniform.
That's where I think the asteroid belt came from. was because before all of this stuff had ever happened, the planets were. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to believe for the whole Big Bang thing. Um, like I said, I'm 15. I don't know where to go with that, but yeah, maybe I'll bring one of my friends on. She
If I'm
knows.
being honest, if we're talking about like the Big Bang Theory and stuff like that, evolution doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And I know for me, from a religious standpoint, evolution is one of those things that I did believe in, and now it's like it's taught against. I'm a Christian. It's taught against at like churches and everything, but I feel like there
But
still is some theory of evolution.
even if you weren't religious, if you think about it, the theory of evolution still doesn't make any sense. Because if they're saying we evolved from little microorganisms that have just somehow, some way, just appeared on Earth after the explosion, makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
And the other thing about monkeys evolving, why aren't monkeys now evolving? Eh?
yeah,
There's
it's
said
like
to be some sort of lost link between
Uh-huh.
monkey and human, but nobody's
Sounds like
actually ever
bullshit to
found the
me.
bones of these things, so it's literally just a theory that is kind of taught as, fact.
Sounds like we can't prove otherwise. We can't make a solid evidence and pretend like we know what we're talking about.
yeah, no, like literally the only difference between or the only like similarities that primates have with humans is that our pelvic bone structure is nearly identical and opposable thumbs. The core difference, a lot of people
Amount of
say
our DNA, like a good amount of our, I think like 84% of our DNA is similar to a banana. I think
And if 50,
I forgot what it was, but it's a pretty high number.
it's 50.
So let's say it is 50. So are we gonna say we evolved from bananas at one point?
a lot of people
No,
say
we
it's like,
just
oh,
share
the
a common
DNA.
ancestor with bananas, which
No,
doesn't make
the
sense, but
Exactly.
no, that's where you guys get this wrong. It's not that we evolved from bananas. It's that the DNA patterns and the genomes are the
similar
same
to a
structure.
banana.
They're the same structure. They're not the same coding, but the same structure is what makes them um different. So it's
So
like
pretty
this.
much just humans and bananas just so happen to have the what's it called, double helix DNA
Yeah,
structure,
yeah. If you
just
know
as
the
an
ladder
example.
structure,
Well,
similar
most
to that,
most uh
genomes that make it.
most organisms have double helix.
I think that was made mostly as like a joke and like was memed by Reddit a lot. But it's also it just kind of disproves evolution pretty quickly. It's like
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
that
most living organisms have double helix, and there's very few with triple or single.
yeah, most organisms have double helix, but the thing with bananas is that what's it called, they have a lot of the same like genomes and chromosomes that make up that double helix, like in the same pattern as us, but still significantly different. If you
Like I was watching this doctor show, and they said that what's it? I think it was tigerfish. No, not tigerfish. It was one of the striped tropical fish. I forgot what it was called.
lionfish,
They said that those fish shared like an 80% similarity to human DNA and how they would react to like medicines and stuff. Like
yeah.
almost the same as humans. I'm like,
Here, you want to disprove evolution really quickly? Dinosaurs, right? They've been dead for 65 million years now. That is a lot.
we
How
have
long did it take to
chickens
evolve? I don't know. But alligators are the closest thing. Alligators and crocodiles share a lot of the same DNA structure.
and
Not even
chickens.
the same structure,
Chickens
but the
too.
same patterns as certain dinosaurs. So 65 million years, while according on what main point of what's it called, like evolution or not evolution, but evolution or creation you cite on, like how long the Earth has been around, 65 million years is a decent chunk. However long it took the dinosaurs to evolve, I don't know
Actually,
that.
not really. The Earth's been around for almost 4 billion years, or five. I mean,
But like I said, that depends on which side you follow, because the people who believe in creation say that it's significantly less than that. Carbon
The people
dating
who believe
hasn't been able to go back up.
in God, who believe
Yeah,
in
Like certain people, I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't know. I'm not that well versed in the God
Well,
faith.
it would have to matter what era Adam and Eve were from.
Yeah, like carbon dating can't go back that
Like,
fast.
But
Jesus was alive 2000-ish years, maybe a little bit more.
something interesting that I learned a while back is do you know the story of Cain and Abel, the jealous
Yeah,
brother who kills his
yeah.
Brother. Yeah.
so the Cain who killed Abel was
Mhm.
worried about the townspeople coming for him, but he like those two plus Adam and Eve were the only ones to like pretty much exist other than like how how many kids did Adam and Eve have?
A lot.
Yeah,
Enough
a
to
lot.
populate the earth.
Well, that's quite a
Yeah, but
lot, but like
apparently
Yeah.
incest didn't exist back then, so
but the he was worried about the townspeople, but he wasn't worried about his brothers, meaning these people had to be not really related.
What do you
Therefore,
mean? He only
that
had one brother.
yeah,
yeah,
he
Cain
had
and
one
Abel
brother, and then
were the
plus
sons.
however many other people were there. But like the
Well, he was
whole
worried about the townspeople coming for him because he was the world's first. He was the first murderer, and
yeah, but the
I'm
whole
pretty
thing
sure. I don't
behind it is like the
know.
townspeople. Who are the townspeople other than your brothers and sisters? Which you have to kind of think about it. Like, well, why wouldn't you just say, "Oh, my family is coming to get me"? It
Because that's
implies
not
that
that's not necessarily how you see it. Do you call random people on the street your family?
no. So that
Exactly.
implies that there is random people who are not a part of this Adam and Eve bloodline, and therefore Adam and Eve,
Okay, well,
although a part of their own area,
No, Trav, listen. Not
had
you
the
know you know you know Cain wasn't religious, right? Or he wasn't uh whatever.
he didn't trust in God. He knew he existed.
Yes. So that's why he didn't believe it like that. But if most Christians will call them brothers and sisters.
Yeah, because the okay, the
okay,
biggest
whoa, whoa,
thing
whoa.
about Cain
But
is
if
that
Cain was not religious at all. That he did not believe in God, he did not want to. His father was and Abel was.
no,
Like,
Cain knew God existed.
huh?
That's part of the story that gets twisted. Cain knew that God existed.
yeah,
Cain made the choice to not worship him and to turn his back on him.
okay. Here's the problem though. Yes, Damon, you're correct. A lot of non-religious people are not going to walk up to a stranger and be like, "Hello, brother," but they are still biologically his family unless there were people who were not biologically his family
All right,
and
yes. Yes, you're right. They are biologically his family, but to a very small percent.
a
Yeah.
very small
Okay. Here.
percent.
Yeah.
Because of how long from between Adam and Eve to Cain and Abel, how many people that have passed on that bloodline, he was probably like it's a small percent.
Okay. Think about it this way: would you consider your 82nd cousin your family?
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
They could be a friend, but I don't really like. Okay, you're my 82nd cousin.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, if we're going with the, I mean, like I said, I am not.
Or actually, yeah. Um,
I'm not well versed in the whole God versus science thing. Like I'm learning as much as I can, but it's a weird thing. So it's like if you believe that Adam and Eve populated the earth, then everyone is related to some like small percentage. And I think that if we're using that logic, that's where a lot of biolo-
No,
biological disorders come from, such as Down syndrome and
there
autism.
literally was no. Hold on. There was no change. There was no like generations before Cain and Abel. Literally, the sons of Adam were Cain, Seth, and Abel,
Yeah,
plus whoever else. But they were. It was literally the generation after theirs, meaning that you have my father, Abel, my brother, or my father, Adam, my
no,
brother Abel,
trap.
like
They're everyone that's a descendant of Adam is called the son of Adam, no matter how far down
duh.
the line.
But literally, like the direct sons of Adam were Cain, Seth, and Abel.
They were the direct descendants. I said that earlier that they were the sons, but um, what's it called? There were other daughters,
Yeah, there
sons
were other
that
sons and
other
daughters.
sons that
10
Eve
sons,
had
13
that
daughters.
weren't with Adam, and other sons that Adam had that weren't with Eve. There was mass. I don't want to say like inbreeding, but it was basically inbreeding, just not back then. That's like I was saying before. That's where I think a lot of
Because God only made two humans. That's it.
that's where I think a lot of what's called biological disorders come from, such as autism and Down syndrome, is because you married someone and had a child with someone who was closer in the family tree in DNA as others. Obviously, like this could be wrong. I'm just saying it's like that could be one of the possibilities for it, is because you're a closer descendant to Adam and Eve than if you were to marry and have kids with someone else.
I mean, that makes more sense than just saying, "Oh, you just randomly have autism. I don't know how. You just do."
Okay,
Yeah, it's like
but
there is a scientific explanation to it or a godly explanation to it. I don't know it yet.
like, shouldn't. Therefore, that there is always going to be inbreeding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Meaning that
I
if
think that's the one.
I were to date someone, I am technically dating a long lost family member.
Yeah,
To an extent, yeah.
in that logic, then yes.
Okay, then there should be more autism, therefore, the population should
No,
be.
but no, Trap.
No,
Like,
you would close
but
any.
not everyone is almost exactly the same in DNA or whatever. The closer you are, the more likely your child has autism or something.
Yeah, it's like that's why when like the Egyptians and all that when they started keeping the bloodline pure, um, it they would be having children with their sisters and their mothers and
Yeah.
disgusting. Yes, I know, but
That's
that's
very close, so that's more
It's
likely to get
pure.
autism
Yes.
or Down
that is
syndrome.
that is pure incest in its purest form. Like that is just you can't get out of that one. That's like your DNA is almost identical, but the adults could have been identical or close to it in the first place. Like Tutankhamun, he had a serious leg birth defect, and it was because his parents were brother and sister.
Isn't that one of the reasons that he died? Didn't he have like
Yeah,
pneumonia and that? Or something
yeah,
and that?
his leg thing. I forget what exactly it was, but it was pretty bad. My sister actually has a book on him. It's really cool. I should go through it again. But yeah, that's why I think it's like maybe that's where
And they can't just say, "Oh," and since they what's it called? Since church and government can't go hand in hand, it's illegal. They can't just say, "Oh, since everyone's brother and sister, you guys can't breed anymore."
that's why the churches can't run government because if they would use that logic, um, nobody would be
Well,
allowed to have.
I don't think they would use that logic because I'm pretty sure most Christians would know that's kind of stupid just to let the entire human race die out because of that.
Yeah, because of inbreeding. But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
that's
okay, I understand not inbreeding against like immediate family and like cousins and stuff like that. But like if I have a child with someone from Asia over there, they can't just say, "Oh no, that's inbreeding." They're probably like 0.1%.
If even that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like the that's where that argument can like come to a flaw to where it's like, oh, that's incest, but it's to such a small percentage that it won't
It's
affect you.
really not.
It jump up to like a 0.5 percentage or something, or it's like or even to a whole percentage to where it'd be like, whoa, that's like pretty close in the whole family tree thing, and it's um gonna cause like
I'll be right back.
conversation.
I have to do something.
All right,
future Mike.
what did you do? Oh, cat cam.
Alright, well, I'm gonna mute his mic just so he doesn't, explode.
Yeah. All right. So now debate time.
Okay.
Are you on the Big Bang side or the creation side?
I personally don't know. Like, I I do believe in a higher power. Like the idea that two of nothing collided and made of something is a long stretch without some sort of interference. And therefore, I believe that there is probably some sort of higher power. Whether it is gods, God, uh, what else, Buddha, I don't know. And therefore,
Actually,
like,
Buddhism is less of a study about God and more of like a mind thing. I don't know the full story of that, but I think it's less divine and more to yourself.
well, okay. But like you know what I'm getting. You know where
Yeah, I
I'm
know, I know what
going
you
with
mean.
this.
Yeah, that's where
So
I think
like
it's like because me personally, like I said before, it's like I'm very religious and I still don't know how to like how I would call that like with the whole scientific versus evolution thing or evolution versus creation because it does create a huge argument in that.
Did
Damon,
you enjoy my plate replacement?
I
yeah,
did.
he was pretty cool. She, my bad.
Yeah, she just like kind of lifted her head up and then put it back down and just sat there.
That was quite impactful, by the way, to our
Yeah,
dialogue.
What did
very much
actually?
for memes.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I see where you're coming from. It's like yeah, it would be basically impossible with no intervention with it. But I don't know.
all right,
What are we
Damon.
talking about?
So, do you think like what do you believe on like a God stance? Do you think like the Big Bang, or do you think there was some sort of God?
Some divine intervention.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this video. It said that it would be very hard to believe in the Big Bang with if you seen uh how close the numbers were to being like if a certain number like let's say the gravitational pull of the sun was off by zero point 0.1, then Earth wouldn't be viable to live on. And so many different numbers, or so many different factors of numbers came so close to being like zero point 0.1 off to ruin Earth, and so you can't live on Earth. Zero point 0.1 off. It's hard not to believe that it wasn't that someone else didn't create it to that extent because there's no way just one random explosion made everything like pitch perfect to the point where it feels off by it's like if the Earth diameter was off by a centimeter, Earth couldn't be there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty trippy.
yeah. It's seriously weird.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that you have to believe, you, the viewer, have to believe that there's the higher power. If you have a reason to believe that, or if you just decide to believe that, this was possible, then go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't care what you believe. In fact, congratulations. You all are
yeah.
great people.
Exercising free will. It's like that's
Yeah.
yeah. It's like yeah. Actually, if you guys disagree with us, drop it down in the comments and let us know. I
Yeah,
actually really
explain.
enjoy reading through those. Yeah, like we aren't gonna try and change your mind or anything. Like I would actually really enjoy reading through and seeing your guys' side of the story.
Yeah. Same with the theories. If we're wrong on something, please help us, and
Yeah,
we
let us
can
know.
use it later for whatever other theories.
Yeah, because we probably will have conversations like this a lot. We get onto pretty scientific stuff a lot.
Yeah.
Hence the name Deep Thoughts FM. And again, doesn't FM stand for frequency modulator? I don't know. It just sounded cool.
Yeah.
And we already had a logo made.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Microsoft
But yeah.
Paint, baby. Woo!
Woo! Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
This video is sponsored by Rage Shadowless. Uh,
Please no, I don't want to be sponsored by them.
Hey, by the way,
hey,
if
they pay you.
any
I'd
of
be sponsored.
any smaller companies or bigger companies who are watching want to sponsor us, that'd be pretty cool, and we'd
Yeah,
appreciate that a
we'll
lot.
endorse you. We don't even care.
We don't really care what it's for.
So moving on. Let's get another topic. We've been recording for about probably half hour, 40 minutes.
42 minutes and 24 seconds.
All right. So we got about like 20, 30 minutes left to go. Anybody else got a topic?
Um,
Here, I got one actually. Actually, here right now, I guess this will be a good time to plug the podcast that kind of like gave us the idea to start.
Yeah, great idea.
Me personally, I listen to the Misfits podcast a lot. Um, if you're under the age of 16, do not listen to them. I say that as a 15-year-old, but uh, very.
Woo! This is what we're talking about when the mic breaks.
Uh, Damon, say something.
Oh my god, dude. This is bad.
Oh,
Okay.
You good?
Anyway, before the
bro,
mic dropped.
it's because my cat sat on my cord.
Okay, I listen to Misfits podcast. Don't listen if you're under 16. The official podcast, which is run by Moist Critical or Penguin Zero, whichever one you know him as. Um, I'd say 13 plus. Uh, the Yogs cast, any age is appropriate. The Yogs cast, actually, I want to give them a shout out. Go listen to them. They do great things. They're really good guys. They raised thousands of dollars for charity last year during Christmas time, and they're just amazing people. We're not being paid to say this. I'm just saying, go drop them a listen, or during holidays, give them a donation. They are truly great people.
That's cool.
But yeah.
Any other
Anyway,
things? Any other shout
yeah.
outs?
It's pretty much all the ones I listen to.
Same here.
The Fam podcast, FAYM from Spaz. That's kind of where we get the format from, except they do it over Discord.
Yeah.
Um,
We got a
and
Zoom meetings open. Woo!
yeah, and
Don't
the
you guys
Goat.
have Discord?
I don't, but I can make one.
Talk about feminism. That sounds like a good topic.
That's
We
not.
can we can, okay here. We can touch on it for a little bit.
Oh
Let's just not
god.
get too spicy with it.
Okay,
Hold on, just in case anything is said,
Actually,
you know.
you know what? Let's not do feminism as a whole. Let's do feminazis.
that sounds like a great idea.
'Cause, pretty much, you can make fun of those guys at any time, and people will agree with you. So, feminazis.
Yeah, to an extent. There's probably
To
gonna
an
be some.
extent, other than the feminazis, which we
Yeah,
are a small channel and may not want to get into that.
it's fine. We can deal with it.
Like, is gonna be listening to us.
Oh,
Partake.
come on, man. That was just stupid.
Yeah, they say it's like, oh,
Oh,
we could kill all men and still um, have kids
Function.
in our
yeah,
bone marrow.
no.
Well, here's the thing. Two of the babies have made it to birth, and they both died within 14 minutes.
Yeah. And if they
See my
if they
point?
live longer than 2 weeks, they're just gonna be deformed and not be able to function.
Yeah, it's like they
Might as
came
well
out
just put it down.
died in under half an hour. That's I think that's science enough to say it's not possible.
And so you know how in the
Please.
you know how in the UK that women were trying to get men to have a 6 o'clock curfew.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wait,
they're
are you
scared of walking
serious?
alone at night, which is okay. Isn't
Are you
everyone?
serious?
Okay, here's the thing. In the UK, I'm not gonna get into the UK because I don't know anything that's going on there. But US, right? I'm gonna go very Republican here when I say this, but if you are
Uh-oh.
scared of walking alone at night and you have to do it a lot, get a gun.
Okay, that's not bad. I think
Um,
disclaiming Republicans
Or
the
at
worst part
least
about that. If
or
you
at
feel
uh call someone. So then if you do get kidnapped, they'll be like, oh snap, what the
Uber,
frick?
yeah,
Uber
just
is a
have some
huge
sort of
thing. Uber or
self-defense
Lyft.
item, whether it's a
Yeah, it's like
knife, a
yeah,
pepper
knives. You
spray,
got
a handgun. I don't care. You can carry your rifle around. I actually don't care.
you can get a good pocket knife for like $15 on Amazon for like a really
Well,
high quality.
I don't.
Yeah,
That
you
would
can get a
imply
cheap one
if
at
that person
Walmart
knows
for
how to
10
use the
bucks. It
knife.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like they're really easy to get, and
And so I saw this post. So basically, there's this like feminazi conference or something, and the host was like, "Women are stronger and more independent than men." And some dude in the crowd was like, "Is that why they can't walk alone at night?" And I was like, "Ooh,
yeah. I mean, but think about it. It's like if you guys are so scared to walk at night, and you're in America,
don't walk at
you
night."
obviously,
Simple as that.
it's like you obviously don't know what country you're in. It is. I'm not saying it's very easy, and I've been with my dad as we've bought firearms before, and it is not that easy to get a gun. You can't walk in with $40 in a paper bag, throw it on there, and say, "Get me a Glock." That's not how that works. There is a process to it. There's a 14-day waiting period. They do background checks. You have to do 3 proofs of residency of
Well,
your.
I understand the background checks and stuff like that because that kind of
Obviously,
makes
dude.
sense.
In
If
my
you're a
opinion,
criminal,
it's
you're
almost
not
too
allowed to
hard to
just
get a
go
gun.
and pick up a handgun, dude.
Well, yeah. So the background checks isn't really like that big of a deal. It's like they're just trying to make sure no one just goes around shooting people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are. I mean, me personally, I'm Republican, and I think a lot of gun laws are infringements on the Second Amendment right, but also some of them are necessary. A 14-day waiting period, I feel like that's a little bit long. 7-day waiting period on rifles. Arizona, for example, is a constitutional state, meaning if you're a resident there, for rifles at least, I know that pistols you still have a 7-day waiting period on because they're easier to conceal. But rifles, you can go in and you can buy one and walk out of the store with it. I think that is how America should be more. But wait, maybe with like a 3 or 4 day waiting period, just as like make sure the background check checks out. I do think that needs to be a thing. Background checks should be regulated. 3 proofs of residency, I think, is a bit much. You should just have a valid driver's license or ID. Because if you're 18, you have to be 18 years or older to buy a gun, so you should have a license by then.
Isn't it 21?
No, it's
Oh.
18. Yeah, you can buy one at 18. They're trying to make it 21. I think 18 is still just fine. I mean, if
Well,
you
I
can,
understand why they wouldn't have as many laws or whatever or restrictions on how to buy a rifle because rifles are big. You can't just carry that. You just can't like sneak that in anywhere
Yeah.
very easily.
Like with a
A
but the
pistol,
thing
handgun.
I
with
get like you could hide that almost anywhere on your body and sneak it in. A rifle, it's pretty long. You can't really sneak that in very easily. And if you're
the
just
thing with
walking around
rifles,
carrying a big old duffel bag,
Big
you'd be
old
like,
trench coat.
"What's in there?"
Hey,
the thing
buddy.
with
How you
rifles
doing?
though, that the left side is trying to do is they're just trying to ban them because they look scary.
They're really not.
They
If
look scary. It's like they
They
think it's like,
sound weak.
God,
isn't the
Adam,
scariest
stop
gun out there.
Yeah,
flapping your
okay, if they're
mouth.
trying to ban like actual guns, might as well just ban pellet guns too, because that's basically what a pellet gun is just a mini version of an actual gun.
You know, it's like
Just a slightly
the
less
thing
dangerous, slightly less dangerous.
It's significantly
is
less dangerous.
yeah. To put
Mm,
this here, let's put this into context.
I mean, you could kill someone with the pellet gun. BB gun,
I
maybe not because
have
of circle, but pellet gun is kind of sharp.
Yeah, I don't have a rifle in my room, but I have held them before, and they're decently heavy, about 10 to 15 pounds on a standard. I do own, my family does own a rifle. I'm not going to say which one, but it weighs about like 15 to 20 pounds. It's a heavy gun. This pistol,
You.
3 pounds if it's fully loaded, and that's about the same for a standard Glock, maybe 3 pounds. And the difference with this is that you can do this, and you can't even tell it's in there. And they're
Relatively.
trying to ban assault weapons when this is scarier. If you're going by definition, it's scary because you can hide it. And that was the whole thing with arm braces because
And it's if I'm being honest, pistols are way easier to shoot than rifles
oh yeah, by far.
because you don't have to really aim with pistols. Like it's easier to aim with a pistol than a rifle. You have to like put it up to your eye. Then you
Yeah,
gotta
it's like
like
caliber too. A rifle can
Well,
kick. It's like a rifle can kick your shoulder a lot, while a pistol it's relatively similar. You hold it still and it'll kick up, and by then you'll already be back on target. A
mhm.
rifle, it's gonna hurt depending on what caliber you get. If you get like a
Like a
30,
22, like a
22,
22 rifle doesn't hurt at all.
no, not in the slightest. But I mean, the same can go with a pistol. If you pick up a 500 Magnum, that thing's gonna rock your hand back straight 90 degrees.
Hmm.
So it's like I don't really know what Democrats are getting at with that whole thing, but
not
hey, if you're scared to walk alone,
Don't walk alone.
just saying,
like
it's
not
America.
even it's not even like Democrats as a whole. It's the far
It's the
left.
yeah, it's the far left. Like
Because I know, or well, I don't know very many Republicans, but I know Democrats who are just fine with guns and who don't really care, but they believe in a lot of the democratic views. They're pro-choice, they're
yeah,
what else? They're whatever.
Damon, what are you doing on Instagram? All right,
And okay, if I'm fine with gun laws, I don't really see a problem if you own a gun. Oh well, good for you. Congratulations, you know how to shoot.
next
But if you're trying to push for fully automatic weapons, that's a straight no-no.
Okay,
And
here's the
there's
thing.
like no argument you can make that you could convince me that you would need a fully automatic weapon.
Oh, needing one? No. But
Yeah,
Okay,
you
I
don't need
understand
one, but
wanting one because
wanting
they
one is
look
kind
cool
of
and they look
cool.
fun to shoot. I understand
oh,
that,
it's totally
but
fun. But the thing is with fully automatic machine guns is that the pre 1996 or 86 or something is you're allowed to buy them as long as they're fully transferable. And it's like, so what is it that makes old machine guns less dangerous than current ones? They still shoot bullets and they still are fully automatic. What is the difference and why are they regulated now? Does a civilian need a fully automatic M16 or anything?
absolutely
No.
not.
Probably, yeah.
Should
Like,
you have the
what are you
option
gonna
to buy
use it
one?
for?
Probably not. But also, if you're going off of the Constitution, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
see
allowed
why
to
you would
own
need
my
one
gun.
personally. I mean, you could shoot a rifle just as fast and more accurately. There's
Yeah.
a
Like, and
there's an
if you try to argue that you need a fully automatic weapon to like help invade from intruders, if you're worried about an intruder like that or that many, get a shotgun.
yeah, shotguns are
You could
great.
take
Yeah,
out like three
shotguns are a
people with
great
one
weapon.
bullet.
You sit
Shotguns are
at the
great.
top of the stairs and wait for him to walk up. Like,
Exactly.
But also,
And even if you don't
when you have
kill
a
them, if you
shotgun
hit them
gun
in the
law,
leg, they're
you're
not
not
gonna
allowed to
move.
have less than a 16-inch barrel. That's what I don't get with shotguns. You should be allowed to have a sawed-off shotgun because a 16-inch barrel, in most cases, makes it more deadly.
yeah, why are sawed-off shotguns the problem?
Like
Don't sawed off
you
like
need to have a
increase the
stock
spread
so
of
you
the
can have a
bullet.
barrel. So this is if this was a shotgun, this would be illegal. But if you can do that with a longer barrel and longer range and easier recoil control, it's legal. Easier to use, legal to use.
Like,
That's
yeah.
what I don't understand.
So making that kind of makes sense, Damon. The whole sawed-off shotguns have better spread. But what's the problem with that? If I'm gonna
Yeah,
blast a couple more holes in my wall when shooting the guy that's charging up the stairs at me, well then, that's my problem. I shot holes in my wall.
Yeah.
What's the problem with the spread of it? Like, I get
you know
mass
how many
shooting.
shotguns are used for shootings, like mass shootings outside of homes?
None.
Almost zero.
Yeah,
It is
why
Because
would
they're
you bring a
not
almost
very
shotgun to a place?
viable.
Like, if
yeah.
it's a
It's like
small area, which I know this seems bad, but if it's a small area, sure.
here's the thing with me. This is going okay. Let me finish before you say something because this is going to sound incredibly bad in the beginning. We should be thankful. Okay, we should be thankful that people are using guns if they're going to commit mass murder. Here's why.
Mhm.
Because
That makes
it is
sense. Makes
way
sense.
harder to kill a lot of people with a gun with a limited ammo count than it is with bombs, as shown in the Boston Marathon. In a parade, a guy took his truck and ran over 167 people. And so, in a way, these are keeping numbers down. So, if people start using bigger things, like if they use a truck or hell, even small cars can do the same thing, or they get access to bombs, which are surprisingly easy to get if you find a black market. In a way,
Like
we should be thankful that people are using these. There are much easier ways to kill more people.
and guns are easier. Like if someone's trying like a mass shooting, it's easier to control that than someone that has multiple bombs set up somewhere random that you don't know where they are,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
get a
like look at
lot
the
more
and
Boston
they
people
have,
Marathon.
to
but they're
do
smart
it.
and they have a dead man trigger. So even if you kill them, the bombs will still go off. So you have to sit there and negotiate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, a ton of
Whereas,
taxpayer money ends up towards them,
And
and,
if someone just has a gun, just shoot them.
yeah, and the thing is, they're trying to get rid of all registered guns. Well, a perfect case in point is, I think it was 2 years ago. It was either a year or two ago. There was a shooting at a church in Texas,
oh.
and yeah, he comes in and he fires a shot and takes his first innocent life. So a man in the crowd named Jack Wilson stands up, draws his pistol, zero hesitation, and domes this guy, kills him, which is a perfect example of a good guy with a gun ending a bad guy with a gun. And that's why guns shouldn't be taken from people because there would become a black market for it. The criminals would be having one, and the citizens who would be using it to defend themselves would not have anything to defend themselves with.
Yeah, criminals can still get a hold of guns,
Yeah. Also,
whether it's
real quick,
legally or not.
Also, real quick, what is going through your head? You're shooting up a church in Texas where conservative Republican Texans will
Ah,
gather. They all have a gun. What are you doing?
yeah, yeah.
It's like it's
Like
like
I
I
feel
just want to know what was going through that guy's head, other than the bullet.
the only guns that you would ever need to own are a pistol, a shotgun, or a hunting rifle.
Hunting
Yeah,
rifles for obvious reasons.
For hunting,
Hunting.
yeah.
Wow.
And there's also
I also
hunting
think it
shotguns
goes.
and other and like just shooting range shotguns.
For me personally, I feel like there are two sides
No
to,
Glock
or
18s
three
though;
sides to
those
that
are
story.
illegal.
Where you need ones for self-defense, you need ones for hunting, but also okay, this is a really good way to put this for recreational use, such as target shooting. If you guys have ever been target shooting, it is fun. It's very
It is
fun.
very fun,
It's very fun.
Throw the discs.
especially when you have a
As
lot
long
of guns to
as,
use and
yeah, as long as, here's the thing, you are smart and safe about it. You can't have any
Don't shoot
retard
at your
go to a
friend.
gun range, pull out their AR-15, and just start mag dumping down range.
especially if the targets are made of metal. One of those bullets is gonna bounce off and hit someone.
Yeah,
That's why you use paper targets.
depending on what you're shooting at, because
Or
a lot of
hay
people shoot
bales
steel targets, and
or
the bullet
wood.
basically explodes by the time it gets there.
Yeah,
But
like hay bales or wood. You can use those
yeah, it's
too.
like those ricochets are very possible, and they can be very dangerous.
I've had a BB gun ricochet off a 2 liter soda bottle, hit me dead in the forehead.
Yeah, I've shot myself in the arm. I've
Kinda hurt.
ricocheted off of targets and hit trailers and stuff. Like
I
it
hit
can
a, I,
happen.
I broke a hole in my window once. I shot it, it hit a brick and bounced off and hit my window behind me.
Yeah, see, it's like they are very real. They can happen and they can hurt you. But if you're being safe about it, you're shooting like a steel target at a safe distance away, at a safe angle,
With
in a
like
perfectly
mounds of dirt or hay bales around it, so if the bullet ricochets, it just gets lodged somewhere else.
yeah. It's like that's where it comes down to like a smart place. But I think the best place to do it would be not at a backyard range or whatever. Like if you're in
Open
Texas or
field.
something and you build your own, be smart about it. But the best place would be at a registered shooting range where nobody's gonna
Have you
get hurt
shot
and it's gonna be
discs?
fine.
Like, have you shot discs before?
No. I've only
No.
shot pistols.
But no, like
Uh,
clay discs?
Like
Like clay
that's what
discs,
I
discs.
mean.
yeah.
It's like, well, clay
With
pigeons are for
shotguns.
shotguns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Clay
no.
pigeons are for shotguns. I have only fired pistols.
I shot clay discs before. It was hard, but it was also very fun.
Yeah, you gotta like lead it. It's weird. I know the physics
Hmm.
behind it, and it looks super fun, but also like a really good challenge.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang, we really took a turn for. I just realized where we came from. Whatever. But yeah, it's like if you're safe about it, I can see why you wouldn't just need like a hunting rifle or anything because with the current state of the world, especially a few months ago with the riots and everything, guns were being mass bought, not only for the purpose of rioting, which they were being used for, just not as much, um, but just for general self defense. And I think that is a great thing for a lot of people who are going out and buying guns for the first time, especially, I'm just going to say liberals, because they're actually realizing you can't just go into a gun store and buy a gun. Like you can't, you have to actually go through a process. And I think that is one of the big things that needs to be talked about. That isn't.
And here's another thing. This is just my own opinion. If you live in like if you live like an area like an old person's area, like you know how in like Idaho there's some areas that just mostly basically all old people live,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's just really peaceful and stuff.
Yeah.
If you buy a gun like, oh, I need it for self defense, and you live in that kind of area, in my opinion, you're that's just dumb because you don't really need it for self defense if you live in that kind of area.
Well,
well, think about it.
if you think about it a
If you're
little bit,
someone who's about to break into somewhere, like if you're trying to rob a house, where are you going to target? Somewhere in a
old
rich
people.
neighborhood or a
Yeah.
redneck neighborhood? No, you're going to target a bunch of old people who would most likely be defenseless.
Yeah.
Me personally, I know that my grandmother is considering buying a gun right now, buying a pistol for self defense because where she lived, I'm not going to say state or city or anything. I know that she is thinking about buying a gun right now for self defense because where she lived, was like ground zero for a good chunk of protests. And right now, before everything gets banned, you should have one because you can grandfather it over and say, "Hey, I bought this before and it's legal." So, and she's thinking about it because she got scared, nervous by it, and wants to defend herself. And I think that is a great thing. I feel like everyone should have that ability to go out and buy one if they feel like they were threatened for it.
Yeah. Like if you feel fear towards something that, you know, that could be stopped by a particular item, you should buy that item. In this case, if it's a person, you should probably buy some sort of weapon, a handgun.
Yeah, like
If
obviously you're not fixing my hoodie real quick. Obviously, you're not limited to just buying a gun. It's like knives will
yeah,
work just fine.
See, but the only problem with
They're fine.
knives, I understand knives are a good form of self-defense, but if we're being completely honest, how many robbers would just carry a knife and only a knife?
No, they use a gun.
Yeah,
yeah.
so bringing a knife to a gunfight is basically suicide.
Well, also
Forget
that's
it.
where
If you're standing too far away from me to physically grab you, you don't even deserve to rob me. You better shoot me. If you're standing up close personal, alright, that's cool. You can have my money, or I can shank you. But if you're gonna stand, oh, I'm 6 feet away, I'm robbing you. Bro, get out of here. This ain't COVID distance. You're robbing me. Come here.
yeah,
Come
it's like you
here.
get in
You better
close and
be
you
in
grab them.
kissing distance, dude.
But that's also where I'm gonna pull the gun up again. Here's the thing: if someone is pointing this at you, there are ways. You
To
have to be
disarm
close
them.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think a lot of people will hold it at a safer distance because you don't want to be disarmed. The best way to do so would be grabbing the barrel, pushing it to the side, and then with the palm of your hand, hitting the magazine release to drop it out. That's very hard to do and will take practice.
Y'all
But I
But
just
think if
even
learned
more people
even
took
if
self-defense
you
self-defense
tactic.
classes like this,
even if you know how to do that, I'm pretty sure most people would be too afraid to do anything in that situation.
yeah, and that's perfectly acceptable. I understand. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, obviously. Ah,
I've
I'm
heard
being
people who've been,
robbed. Here's my items.
yeah,
And
I've
if
Ready
heard
for
you're
people,
if
not
you're
to
like
be
a
shot
smart
today.
robber, like if you're like or not, I wouldn't say a smart robber, but if you knew that someone could do that,
stay at a safer
like if
distance.
I were to rob someone, which by the way I would not,
Yeah,
okay,
Yes,
this
disclaimer,
is
we're
not
not robbing
plan. This is
anybody.
not future
exactly.
Yeah.
plans. This is
So if
just
I were to rob
yeah.
someone, I would disable them first, so they would be in too much pain to do anything,
A
even if they
hole
knew
in
how.
me? What do you
Like either
how are you
shoot them
gonna
in the
disable
leg
me?
or shoot them in the hand or shoot them in the arm.
Okay, here's the thing with the legs. A lot of people say cops only shoot to kill. They should shoot them in the leg to
There's
give them a
there's a
chance to
lot of
survive.
if you
Here's
shoot
the
them in the
thing.
leg, there's a lot of arteries that
There are so many arteries in your leg that if you get shot in the leg, you will die in 60 seconds, period. So it's either a quick death or a slow death. If a cop has pulled their gun on you and have fired a shot, it is because you deserved it. Period.
relatively. There are some cases where it's completely undeserved, but
Yeah, there are some,
still
but it's very rare.
it's rare. It's like
It's like one out of maybe 1,000 cop killings to where it's like they just shot them. A cop does not want to shoot and kill someone because the sad truth of it is they get in a lot of trouble for it. They get a lot of paperwork to fill out. It's like cops don't.
we're hold on. Before we get to the paperwork, they get into a lot of trouble and they have mental problems afterwards because
Oh yeah.
nobody is
Oh yeah.
actually fit. You can go through the entire Marine training and still not be fit to kill someone until you're in the field. Like
Yeah. I
once you
think a
shoot that
great
person and you watch the life drain from their eyes, you don't know what killing is like.
yeah,
It's
I think
just
a great example of this is the movie Full Metal Jacket.
oh yeah,
Now,
that
the
movie.
thing with this is it is a very hard movie to watch. It's rated R, so I don't recommend you watch it unless you are like more
Mature.
mature. Like, I mean, yeah, you can still be immature and like a kid. Like, I'm still 15, I'm still immature, but you have to be mentally mature to watch this. It is very intense, a lot of swearing, and it shows the intense and rigorous training that these kids go through, and it is set in the time of Vietnam. And at the end of the training, one of the kids, he had a mental disability as he was going through, he was drafted. He ended up shooting the drill sergeant and shooting himself due to the mental break. That shows how far that these kids were pushed during training camp. And then at the end of the movie, they kill a sniper who ended up being a little girl, a child who the Vietnamese set out to ambush their squad. And it shows the effects in their mind as they're looking at the kid, going, "That just happened." Like, wow, like,
I
that's
shot a
where
kid.
that thing comes from.
Like
Yeah, it's like I shot a kid.
that's a big thing with, like, I know there's some areas who train their kids in order to join, and that's all for the mental manipulation, because a lot of these people are
And I think
most
that is
likely.
disgusting.
That's terrible, dude.
It is
Like,
disgusting.
shooting a man who is shooting at you is one thing. Shooting a child who has been trained to shoot at you is
It's not even
entirely
trained.
different.
That's the thing. It's not even trained. Was the Afghanistan was a perfect example of that in every worst way possible. In the way that they would hop the kids up so much on speed that they can't even think straight, but they can shoot an AK.
And you don't even have to fire directly at the target either. If you're firing shots up in the air, you're likely to get shot. And that's terrible.
That's the thing with these kids. They don't have any weapon training, so they draw out their gun and they just kind of go like that. And the deadliest, I feel the deadliest gun is the one in an untrained hand. A lot of
Yeah,
people say the
definitely.
deadliest gun is one in the hand of like a Navy SEAL or something. It's true. Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy who shot and killed
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Kennedy?
Yeah, Kennedy. Took the shot from 200 yards away, and he's an ex-Marine. Very dangerous guy, and proved his danger in that. Um, what's his name? John Wilkes Booth, the guy who shot and killed Abe Lincoln. Nobody really knows this,
It was like 15 feet away with a
but it
pistol.
was from 50 feet back and 15 feet up. So he was shooting at an elevation and at a good distance with a pistol.
With an
During
old
that
pistol
time,
too.
pistols
With
were
those,
not accurate in the slightest.
yeah, with those
You know
inaccurate,
what he
like,
was? An ex-Confederate soldier or a Union soldier, one of them. I forget. But he was trained in that, and that's where it shows. But a guy who doesn't know how to use a weapon and is just spraying it like that is gonna hit someone. It's gonna cause
Like
collateral
there
damage.
was there was this incident, I forgot when, but there's this kid at a shooting range, and I think it was a fully automatic weapon.
oh, and he
But
turned and he turned and
yeah,
shot
like because
the
the recoil was too much for him to handle, and so he just held down the trigger. But since he couldn't let go of it, he just started spinning around with hold down the trigger until the whole mag was empty and killed like uh I think 5 people.
Yeah,
I think he
that's
killed
also a just
he definitely killed the guy who
he
was
killed the
there to
rangemaster.
supervise.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
killed
he
the
killed
rangemaster
at
too.
least one person. I maybe
Yeah.
more. I'm pretty sure like 5.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like also that's just a massive lapse in judgment. Why would you give a kid a fully automatic
Yeah,
weapon if he
don't
can't
bring
handle
your
it?
kids to
He
a
was
shooting
like I think he was like
range.
14. I think it was 14.
Also, really easy way to tell. Don't full load a mag, load 3 rounds in it, let them shoot it, and then take the gun when you realize they aren't able to handle it. It's like you really just gave the kid a full loaded mag and told him go to town.
Yeah, that's
You
that's a complete
you
lapse
load
in
one
judgment.
round
That
in the
is.
mag, let him shoot that. You load another one, shoot that so he gets used to the standard recoil. Then you load 3 or 4, let him shoot it in a burst, and if he can't control it, guns out of his hands.
Yeah. Like, recoil, especially in an untrained hand, will get somebody hurt. Whether it's getting smacked in the face with the handgun or it's, spinning around with a fully automatic weapon.
Yeah,
It
or not
will
even an
hurt
untrained
you.
hand. There was a case a couple years back where a guy he was training people at a shooting range with a revolver, and he was talking about the mechanics of it. And if on many revolvers you can just pull the trigger back and it will prime the hammer and shoot at the same time. Or you can pull the hammer back itself and the trigger will become very light. I have shot revolvers and we do own some revolvers, and they're
Revolvers
not
are heavy.
they aren't double action to where you can just pull the trigger and it shoots it. You do have to pull it back. But featherweight trigger, my first time ever shooting a gun, okay, it wasn't. I say it was on accident, but it wasn't on accident. Like it was in a well trained situation. I had it on target and everything. It's just it was an accidental trigger pull because I didn't realize how light it was. I was expecting to have to put more weight on it, and that's where a featherweight trigger comes into play. And he's a range instructor, meaning he's very well trained and he's licensed to train other people. And he pulls it back and he accidentally strikes the trigger, and it full rocks back and almost slaps him in the face.
Yeah.
That's the case of just an
Yeah, like
accidental
when my little
mistake.
brother, he was shooting a G17, I think, and when I
Wait, what?
shot it,
A G17?
huh?
G17
Yeah, yeah.
rifle or
Wait, hold on.
because I
It was
don't.
one of the Glock. It was either Glock 16 or 17, I think.
Oh,
Or
G7. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what's a
wait, hold on.
G17?
Let
Oh,
me see. I
Glock
might.
17. Yeah,
I
okay.
hold on.
I was like, nobody calls him a G, but yeah, a Glock 17.
Yeah, G whatever. Same
Most
difference.
likely a 17. Nobody owns an 18.
Um.
16s.
Well, it's the gun on my Instagram, the one I posted.
Got on my Instagram. I just
Yeah.
post my
Yeah,
handguns.
I forgot what it was called, but when I shot it, it did have a little bit of recoil. It wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't hard to
It's chambered in
control.
9 millimeter, so it's not gonna like kick like a horse, but
Yeah, like it went. My hand went back like I don't know an inch or two. Like it went up an inch or two. But when my little brother shot it, his arm went almost to hit him in the back of the butt. Almost hit him in the not the butt the
Slide
uh
the
huh? Yeah, the
top.
slide. The back of
yeah,
the
the
slide
slide.
almost hit him in the forehead
Yeah, and that's a
because
problem
he
with
wasn't
giving.
strong enough to keep it down.
Like, if you don't know what you're shooting, and well, hold on, you have to learn what you're shooting. But if you're handing someone something with a big recoil that they cannot handle, you are being irresponsible completely.
Yeah, damn it, it was a Glock 17. I just looked at it.
Right.
It's a Glock 17.
Right. And it
But
So
was
yeah,
like 16 or 17.
overall,
I already
don't
knew it
give
wasn't an
kids
18.
guns.
but yeah, it's if you hand an untrained person a gun and like you don't train them with it first, like obviously you can't always train someone where it's like because I do feel like a lot of guns are hands-on to where it's like you have to learn by just shooting it.
Yeah, you can learn the mechanisms of a gun, but if you've never shot a gun, you don't
But
know
yeah,
nothing
also
about a gun.
like before shooting any gun, I had a BB gun and it was a rifle, and that gave me like the basic mechanics, trigger discipline, never pointed at anyone, like just the basic stuff. And I do
Yeah.
think that's where it should start. It should start with a non-lethal, and then you can go up to it. I got this pistol after shooting my first gun. Like I had gone shooting, I think 4 or 5 times with my dad before, and then I got the pistol.
BB gun, by the way.
And yes, BB gun. But so yeah, Trap, how long have we been going for?
It's been 1 hour 20 minutes.
All right, so I think that's a good place to stop. We covered a lot of stuff. You guys can kind of see where this podcast is going to be going. It will only get better with time. I promise you that. We're just starting out.
Oh, I have a question.
What?
All right, go ahead before we close it out.
Let's say like, if your son becomes a Catholic priest, do you call him father or son?
Oh my god. Well, alright. That's the riddle of the day, everyone.
Yeah, that won't become a reoccurring thing. I hope.
I hope it does.
You
I hope
know what?
sponsors do too.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Thank you guys. This has been Deep Thoughts FM, and we will see you next time.